Alumni Council, President Dia Poole. Dia?
Thank you, Chair Monville. Before I begin, I would also like to express to President Connolly and the Cal State Long Beach community that the Alumni Council shares our deepest condolences on the loss of Miss Noemi Gonzalez. Once a student begins their academic career at any of our campuses, they also begin their journey as a rising alum. We are so proud that the whole world now knows of her many accomplishments. Students, do all you can to keep her dreams alive and her spirit to her campus. The Alumni Council stands ready should there be any way we can assist to honor her memory or provide comfort to her family and friends. One of the pride points of any university surrounds its legacy. For some, this takes the form of athletic program successes. For others, their role in fueling key statewide industry. While our CSU campuses can certainly boast about both of these types of legacies, I'd like to propose that the true legacy of the California State University is how higher education improves the lives of not just our students, but for entire generations of families, our legacy families. The idea of CSU legacy families is one that I feel is at the heart of what we do. Although many of our students are the first in their family to go to college, they often chart that course for siblings, cousins, and their own children to follow. I feel that this story, how our alumni are connected through legacy, is an important one to tell as it multiplies the impact of our state's and our donors' investments in our students. Change one life, change many. We began focusing on this theme during the Class of 3 Million campaign by giving alumni the opportunity to earn the legacy badge on their yearbook profile and display it proudly. Throughout my presidency, I plan to continue to highlight this theme and introduce you to alumni that can share their own personal CSU legacy stories. First, though, please welcome back our past alumnus of Cal Poly SLO, San Luis Obispo, who earned his legacy badge. His wife and all 3 of his children are now CSU alumni. Thank you, Ken, for staying connected. I'm now pleased to introduce our alumni guest speaker to you. Dr. Marshall Thomas, to my immediate left, is a 3-time graduate of Cal State Long Beach, earning his bachelor's degree in Asian and Asian American Studies, his master's in linguistics, and his EDD in higher education leadership. So he's almost all a legacy all to himself. Dr. Thomas is a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, where he served for 6 years and currently serves as the Director of Veterans Services at Cal State Long Beach. And he is the beginning of a CSU legacy as his daughter Madison currently attends Cal State Long Beach as well. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Thomas.
Thank you for having me, and I'd like to say good morning to the Board of Trustees, Chancellor White, campus presidents, and all else who are here. It's a great honor for me to be here. Thank you for having me. I've often said there are 2 organizations in my life that have had the greatest impacts. The first is the United States Marine Corps, and the second is the CSU, and specifically Cal State Long Beach. I took a lot of things away from my experience in the Marine Corps, but one of the lessons that always sticks out is how we talk about leadership. There's a saying in the Marine Corps about priority setting as a leader that says your mission and then your men. But one of my early mentors, Sergeant Michael Keitzer, said, I've learned that if you take care of your men, they'll take care of the mission. Of course, a statement like that works pretty well in an organization that is more than 90% men, so I've had to adjust it a little bit for the civilian world. And I say that if you take care of your people, they'll take care of business. And while that's lost the alliteration that was there in the original statement, it's a philosophy that's continued to serve me well. So when I reflected on how the CSU has impacted my life, I realized that it's been a series of people that have taken care of me that have gotten me to where I am today. And I'm going to share some of those names with you. I came to Cal State Long Beach in 1999 as an upper division transfer student, having attended 2 California community colleges and a regional university in central Oklahoma. And when I got here, I took a lot of English courses, but I chose my major, Asian Studies, to develop a deeper understanding and a base of knowledge for the other half of my daughter's cultural heritage. And as I was about to graduate in spring of 2000, something happened that happens to a lot of students. I got an email saying, you have to take one more class that you weren't planning to take. It was a lower division English course, and I felt that I had already met the requirements, so I set an appointment to meet with the department chair of the Department of English, Dr. Eileen Klink. Writing samples and syllabi and everything I could to support my cause. And although I'd never met her before, she sat down, she reviewed all of my stuff, and listened to me, and said, you know, Marshall, not only should you not have to take this course, but why don't you apply for our master's degree in English program? I thought that was pretty good advice. So I did, and I began an English program. And at the same time, I started volunteering in our Learning Assistance Center, working with students who were learning to speak English as a second language. And I actually had more to do with teaching English as a second language than it had to do with literature. So I reapplied to the university again and then completed a master's in linguistics with a focus on teaching English as a second language, which I continue to do today in our Department of English, in addition to being the Director of Veteran Services. So as time went on and as I continued my studies, I also continued my professional development, and under the leadership of Dr. Jen Ramirez, I eventually became the Associate Director of the Learning Assistance Center, where I had started as a 1 hour a week volunteer tutor. But I came upon the realization that if I was going to continue to advance in academia, I was going to need some extra letters after my name. And as luck would have it, the CSU would have an educational doctorate in educational leadership. So I applied and was accepted to the first cohort at CSULB, and very soon started looking for a dissertation topic. And I met a guy named Pat O'Rourke. Those of you who work here at the Chancellor's office may know him. He's the Director of Active Duty and Veterans, Director of Veteran Services at Cal State Long Beach. And he told me that he was trying to find a way to teach faculty and staff at the university student veterans, which I thought was great. Most people don't know much about veterans. And I had just attended a program on our campus called Safe Zone, which is a way to teach our community about the LGBT students on our campus. And those of us that didn't know anything about it, I thought it was a fantastic program. And I saw some parallels between our LGBT community and our veteran community. Now, for those of you that don't see the immediate connection there, student population, it's been historically mistreated on college campuses, and members of each of those communities have to decide whether they want people to know that they are a member of that community. So they get to decide if they're out or not. So I called Pat back up, and I said, listen, I've got a plan for you here. I'll create a program, I'll write a dissertation, you'll have a program that you need, and we can carry forward. So we worked with a psychologist named Mike Barraza, developed a program. Turned out to be a pretty popular program, and we were invited to go to different campuses around the local area and found some success there. And then Pat decided he wanted to work on his doctorate full-time, so he left the university as an employee and started as a student in the EDD program. And I got a phone call from Dr. Marianne Takamoto that asked if I'd like to talk about veteran services on our campus. So I soon found myself leaving the Learning Assistance Center and becoming Director of Veterans Services. That was 2011. Since then, that VetNet Ally program has grown quite a bit in scope. I've been invited to 10 community colleges and 6 of our CSU campuses to present VetNet Ally. I've been from our southernmost campus in San Diego to the almost northernmost campus in Chico. Still waiting for an invitation from Humboldt State so I can bookend the states here. So I've also been invited to present at universities in a few other states, and this is where things get interesting to me because while I've been talking about how the CSU impacts my life, I find it difficult to go somewhere else where the CSU has not been impactful. Western College in August, an audience member and CSULB alum cried out with a hearty, "Go Beach!" And if you've ever been to Cal State Long Beach, you know that's our rallying cry. If you've ever been to Yuma, Arizona in August when it's 114, you know Go Beach is actually good at it. At the University of Michigan at Flint, I learned that their president was a former student affairs VP at our Dominguez Hills campus. Last week, I was at Binghamton University in New York at their very first Veterans Day celebration. I had the great pleasure to meet a recently retired 2-star Marine Corps general. He and his wife were there, and they were very proud of their adult children, one of which had gone to Humboldt State, the other had gone to San Diego State. pretty good authority that one of our presidents, who I will not name, graduated from Binghamton University as well. I won't tell you. Lunch conversation started. Well, I guess I have a message today. It's this. The CSU is impacting people's lives across the nation, and I'm just one of those people. I'm honored to be able to represent the CSU as I present work that began as a student project and has become a staple of my professional career. And finally, as we talk about legacy, I can't talk about the impact that CSU has on people's lives without talking about my daughter, Madison. She's a junior at Cal State Long Beach studying civil engineering, which is further proof that intelligence skips a generation. I'm glad she got it. I would have invited her to attend with me today, but she's studying abroad in Ireland, and I'll go visit her for Thanksgiving, but it'll be good to have her back home studying at the beach in the spring. So all of that said, what I'd like to do today is just thank all of you for having me here today. Thank you for all you do for this institution and for all that you do for the people that make this institution work. Thank you.
Thank you, Marshall, for sharing your CSU story and for your service to this country and to our student veterans. The alumni are here to help today's students. Do not hesitate to call upon us. Please give our best to Madison during your visit to Ireland and tell her that we expect the Thomas legacy to continue to grow at the CSU. Thank you, Chair Monville. This concludes my report.
Thank you, President Poole.